So it's very much a working demo where people would see it. It's 10 years since we did this one, just to say the farmers who looked at that 10 years ago looked at that technology and thought this is way out. But today they're actually using all that technology of 10 years ago. So that's why, this will be relevant again for farmers.
During June, the frantic pace of work on tillage farms begin to ease, giving farmers a valuable opportunity to reflect on the season so far. It's a great time to ask what worked well, what could have been improved, and is there a better way to approach things next season? Visiting other farms or research centres can be hugely rewarding, not just for discovering new ideas or better practices, but also reconnecting with neighbours and colleagues. You're listening to the latest episode of the Tillage Edge with me, Michael Hennessy. We would really appreciate it if you could listen, follow, and give us a review on Apple or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. The Teagasc Crops and Technology Open Day is taking place next week in Oak Park, and to give us an insight on what to expect, I'm delighted to be joined by Dr. Ewen Mullins and Dermot Forristal, both from Teagasc Oak Park. Ewen, first you might just give us a quick reminder of the date, the location, etc. for the Open Day next week.
Okay, so it's here in Oak Park in Carlow, and it's on Wednesday, June 25th, gates open 10 a.m.
Okay, so you're kind of expecting people at 10 or before 10, or what's your thinking this year?
We'd expect people at 10 a.m. Obviously, there's normally a greater crowd start to arrive mid-morning around lunchtime as well, but the gates are open for the full day and it closes at 5 p.m.
Okay, and what's the main theme or focus this year, Ewan?
So we're continuing with the theme of crops and technology. The event obviously is a partnership with the Farmers Journal, and this time we're focusing on sprayers and the exciting technologies around application, optimizing sprayers, etc. I mean, Dermot will be able to explain it much better than myself. But across the whole of the campus, we'll have over 50 research stands. And what's, I suppose, most exciting is the machinery demonstrations that will be present in front of the house. People will be familiar with the field and the setup. That's a packed agenda, and it's a full cohort through today.
Okay. You might just maybe, Ewan, give us an idea of sort of the main stops that are around there this year, kind of briefly, because we're going to come back to maybe one or two of them in detail afterwards.
Yeah, so people will be familiar if they've been at our event before. We have the hop on, hop off trailers, and we're conscious to try and minimize the amount of walking as much as possible. So there are 6 research areas. The first one is touching on added value opportunities. Obviously, we're doing a lot of work on plant protein and other elements and trying to derive more and more value from the crops that we produce very, very well. There's also a horticultural demonstration, and that's in research area. The next research area 2, that'll also touch on demonstrations of machinery to accelerate planting as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. Then as we move out further across the campus, it's into winter wheat and oats, and then coming back around heading towards the main demonstration area. And the Farmers Journal demonstrations will be the rye agronomy, spring barley, winter barley, BYDV, grass weeds, all the usual subjects that people will be familiar with. But the exciting thing is that the hands-on demonstrations, exhibitions and boards will all have the most recent research updates.
And you mentioned there the added value hub that you have. So to understand you right, you're this year the elements are going to be kind of grouped, so there are going to be 5 or 6 or 7 pieces to be viewed at one particular stop. Is that how it's going to be done?
Exactly, yeah. So rather than having, I suppose, a trail of boards across the campus, which we've been conscious of in recent years, can put a large walking requirement on people. So we're grouping the stands a bit closer together into these areas. And the first one then is the added value one. So when people park, they'll just walk across the road, and the added value area will be there. And what we're really focusing on here is, obviously people know we're putting a lot of work, we've a lot of projects around plant protein, but we're conscious that we need to demonstrate some of the opportunities that's coming out the far end of that work. And this will be demonstrated and explained by colleagues from our food program and indeed crops program, things like the products that are being used, that are used for confectionery, bakery. So on hand, there'll be breads, crackers, hummus, a whole range of different food products. In addition to that, some beverages as well. We'll also have an area stands on spring wheat, which is Sinead Dermody's work, potential of rye, and also the Centre for Brewing and Distilling will have a demonstration there as well. So the idea is that it's showing more down the value chain, as we say. It's more, what happens after the farm gate? What are food processors? What are the industry looking for? What are they going to be able to focus on?
Okay, and that's just one of about six kind of fairly major stands after that.
Exactly.
Just to keep everybody's interest, Dermot, can I come back to you? Machinery is always a big draw in this event every year. Certainly has for the last 4 or 5 times we've done it. Sprayers in particular, why are we focusing on those in this particular event?
Michael, yes, we're focusing on them because I suppose they are putting out very important inputs on the crop, and there's a huge importance today in getting that done really, really accurately. So all of the kind of technology developments that we'll be showing on the days are around that, around improved accuracy in terms of getting our herbicides, fungicides, or whatever it is onto the crop. So there's many aspects to that. That can be from drift reduction to getting the right size of droplets onto the crop, getting it evenly on all of the crop. And that can be a big ask around headland areas and that with big booms, keeping the boom height under good control to make sure the overlap between the nozzles is correct and so on. So all of those areas feed into the need to get the product applied accurately. So it's that accuracy, if you like, using newer technology to get that accuracy on is hugely important.
And is this static, Dermot, or will the machines be up and running so you can see how some of these technologies actually work, or the physical attributes of a sprayer might work in the back of a tractor?
Yeah, look, it'll be very much up and running. So we're going to have 3 different demo runs on the day, starting at 12 noon. And in each of those, we're going to see different categories of sprayer working actually there in front of you. They'll come across a bumpy track, if you like, so where you'll see the suspension system working. And they'll come across in front of the crowd as well, where you'll see things like the section control, headland management system being operated. We hope to work the sprayers with a die in them so people will see exactly where the sprayers are turning on and off compared to a particular headland line. We'll also have for the other technologies, which I can talk about in a minute, where we're trying to do spot or patch spraying. We're actually going to have areas set up for that so that you can see that actually in operation as well. So it's very much a working demo where people will see it. It's 10 years since we did this one, just to say,
Okay.
talking to a farmer that did one or that looked at it 10 years ago. The farmers who looked at that 10 years ago looked at that technology and thought this is way out. But today they're actually using all that technology of 10 years ago. So that's why, this will be relevant again for farmers.
Sure. Okay. Ewan, just go back to you. And we talked about one of those main stands, and I suppose to be fair, they're all probably your favorite childs. But if you were to pick out another stand that you think growers should really try and spend a little bit of time on as they're going around in the open A, what would that be?
So I suppose I wouldn't be able to pick out one child, but I think there's
I knew that.
there's a few there. I mean, obviously the work that Richie's doing on rye is exciting. The most recent developments in the agronomy of it. It's a crop that we have a lot of interest in, and we see a lot of potential with it. Um, Fertilizer strategies for winter barley. Richie has results on that, and obviously spring barley as well. And then in addition, I suppose what's very relevant at the moment is disease control in winter wheat. We all know about yellow rust. Stephen will be talking about that, and obviously septoria control. And then lastly, the BYDV in spring barley has popped up again in the last week or two. And obviously the perennial issue on grass weeds. We know the issues around what we've reported on the glyphosate-resistant Italian ryegrass. So VJ will have very practical demonstrations and also guidelines and actions for farmers to take in terms of control of any of the grass weeds that may appear, should they appear on farms.
There's also a horticultural area, Ewan, in the open day, the same as there was last year. Is that of primary concern only to people with horticulture, or is there something in there where tillage farmers should really be going in and have a little look because it might be something of relevance in a few years' time?
Yeah, exactly. I think it is something that everybody needs to be taking a look at. We see a lot of synergies between the hort and the tillage side. And as you said, we had hort demo here for the first time 2 years ago. That was in terms of weed control. and it just got a lot of attention and a lot of interest. And I think that's something we need to be encouraging. That's why we've situated the Hort demo now directly on the route. So it's just after the added value, just 10 or 15 meter walk over to it. And what they've planned there is I think, going to be very interesting around establishment, trying to get stuff in as quickly as possible and as efficiently and cost effective as possible.
I think there's also a big section to do with weed control, band spraying, and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, absolutely, which ties in with what we had 2 years ago, and obviously it fits in with the theme of the whole event around spraying and pesticide applications as well.
Okay, talking about horticulture, Dermot, there's a demonstration going on in potatoes. What will farmers see at that demonstration?
Yeah, the potato demonstration will be linked, if you like, to the sprayer one. It'll happen immediately after that. But what this is focusing on is the whole area of desiccation, or if you like, coping with the loss of diquat. So what's going to be laid out there, and Shay Phelan will be manning this. What will be laid out there will be different plots with different treatments. Some of the plots treated with products like Spotlight. Other plots then where we'll be showing flailing of the tops, and we'll even have a separate haul and puller on it. But the unique machine that we will see this year, and this may have some greater uses or more widespread uses in the future. The unique machine is we're going to see the first demonstration, I suppose, of the crop zone machine, which actually is, if you like, a weed killer, if that will desiccate crops as well, which uses electrical energy. In other words, it's a unit which passes over the crop, transmitting high voltage and quite high power electrical energy into the crop, in this case the potato stalks, and it basically burns them off over time. So this will be unique, the first time to see it. And, it might be technology that we will be forced to use in the future, as we're losing, if you like, the battle in terms of having effective herbicide chemistry there for many crops. The crop zone type electrical approach might be another tool in the toolbox in the future for more general use, but it's now being used to desiccate potatoes.
Okay, so it'll be a good chance to see that. Dermot, there are going to be trade stands there this year. Are we expecting similar trade stands to other years, or the same amount, do you know?
Yeah, look, I was just checking with our partners on this, which is the Farmers Journal there, and they have about, no, I think it's much bigger than other years at this stage. They're running with about 30 machinery companies and about 6 or 7 other companies at this point. So in the actual demonstration itself, all the major companies will be there. You'll have Hardy, Berthoud, Horsch, Landquip, Kverneland, Amazone, John Deere, Bateman, and Mazzotti shown sprayers in the actual running demonstration that we described there earlier. We also have Sky, which will show you a sprayer for picking out docks in grassland, and Clever Agri in Tullow will show a retrofit sprayer. In other words, trying to put new technologies on an older sprayer. So yeah, look, there's a great lineup to see both on the static stands, but also all the major sprayer manufacturers are represented in the working demo.
Ewan, listening to all of that, there's a huge amount there to see. Is it just a one-day job, or is there 2 days for people to kind of get around all this?
I'm listening to Dermot there, and I'm thinking we should roll it into a second day. No, look, it's a one-day event, but we would encourage people to get here as early as they can in the day, not be rushed, take their time, enjoy it. It's a great day to meet with friends and colleagues and have the chats, as well as to engage with Teagasc staff, and then obviously the machinery demonstrations are going to be very exciting. But in terms of the amount of time for the whole day, I'd say I'd give yourself, a couple of hours, half a day at least.
Say at least a half a day. And with that in mind, because everyone tends to get hungry and likes an ice cream, is there areas there where people can get a little bit of refreshments, have a bit of a sit down, and as you say, do a little bit of chatting for neighbours and colleagues?
Absolutely. So we'll have in front of the house, we'll have our usual food court area, and actually we're going to put that adjacent to the research village. So while people are having a burger and some nice food, they can also see what's going on at other parts of our research program. We'll also be launching the AgNav tillage application there as well, which will allow farmers to just go in and look at the carbon footprint of their enterprise as well. There'll also be refreshments at other parts of the route all the way through the day as well.
Okay, really looking forward to it. Again, just to finish up, you might just remind everybody just the time and date and location and that kind of stuff. And by the way, is it free or paid in?
Free for everybody. So it's on Wednesday, June the 25th, starts at 10 a.m. we have a great day planned. Exciting research, machinery demonstrations, definitely not to be missed.
Brilliant. Listen, Ewen, thank you very much. And Dermot, thanks very much for joining us. And I'm really looking forward to the day. And we'll all be there to meet everybody on the day as well.
Thanks, Michael.
So that's it for this week. And my thanks to Ewen and Dermot for joining me on the show. Over the next few weeks, you'll hear some of the researchers at the Open Day and what they're working on and the key messages for the industry. So keep an eye out for that. So finally, if you enjoyed the podcast, then recommend it to a friend or colleague. And as always, rate, review and follow on Apple or Spotify so you never miss an episode. And for more information, go to teagasc.ie. I'm Michael Hennessy. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back next week with more tillage news and advice.